Okay, release and deployment management. Its goals, I'm sorry, release and deployment management aims to build, test, and deliver the capability to provide the services specified by service design. So release and deployment management is only concerned with build, test, and deliver. That's it. Quite different from what we've experienced in the real world most times. The goal of release and deployment management is to deploy releases into production and establish effective use of service in order to deliver value to the customer and be able to hand over to service operations. It'll all make sense in a moment. Release and deployment management scope includes processes, systems, functions, all of those that are needed to package, build, test, and deploy or release into production. It establishes the service specified in the service design package before handover to service operations. Effective release and deployment management enables the service provider to add value to the business by delivering change faster and at an optimal cost and minimize risk. Release unit. A release unit is a component of an IT service that are normally released together. Are you familiar with release units?
No.
Okay. So one example here of a release unit could be a desktop PC, including hardware, software, licenses, documentation, etc. So if you think about starting in a new company, a release unit could be, okay, here's your quote unquote laptop. Your laptop could be loaded with everything that you need to officially start working that day. Or it could be a set of organizational process. And it says, okay, you're working on our DoD contract. Here's the way that they do business, and they'll hand you or provide you access to a number of processes that you would need to be able to effectively do work on that contract. A different release unit may be the complete payroll application, including IT operations procedures and user trainings. Common approaches to release and deployment management. There are three: big bang versus a phased, push and pull, automation versus manual. Release and deployment model define the release structure, which is the release package and target environments, the exit and entry criteria, very, very important, and the roles and responsibilities for each configuration item at each release level. So let's go back a little bit so I can provide you with some more information on release and deployment management. And I will probably just go ahead and make some notes. Okay, so if we look at the first, big bang. That's a release that happens all at once. Whereas phased is a staggered approach. There are a number of reasons why an organization would pick one over the other. Sometimes the big bang it is too risky for a release, and they say we want to do a phased approach. We want to do a staggered approach because we only have a limited amount of resources that can monitor the success of this, or could provide assistance if something goes wrong. So in order to just mitigate us becoming overwhelmed, maybe we'll do a phased approach. We'll release this to 10% of our customer base and then manage it from there versus releasing it to 10,000 people all at once, for instance. Okay. Push is sent to everyone. And pull, people access when needed. A good example of this are iPhone upgrades. Sometimes the upgrade is a user is notified about an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can download or quote unquote pull that upgrade when at your convenience. You may not be in a position where you want to sit there and wait for the phone to shut off and turn on, etc. You may have only 10% battery power. So you'll pull it when you are ready to have it. Otherwise, the update, the release is pushed and sent out to you, and you don't have a choice in the matter.
If you leave your phone plugged in at 2 a.m. in the morning, yeah, they'll put that
Yes.
stuff on your phone.
They'll push it to you. And some organizations do that too, especially if you work with the government. They'll ask you, oh, you have to update this. You have to update this. And they'll send you reminders. And at some point, when you ignore them, they'll just push it to you. And you go to sign in, and then your computer shuts down saying, hey, we're doing routine maintenance. And and you're like, no, I was going to do it. Yeah, but you probably took too long. So that's another example of a push. And of course, automation, which is, it has an automated mechanism to it versus manual.
So can releases be aspects of all have aspects of all three of these components? Like, can it be an automatic push big bang?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so uh-oh, I lost my place. No. There we are. I don't want to use manual for manual, but that's really what it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, so those are the three approaches. So release and deployment management, pretty much straightforward. It's concerned with build, test, and deploy of a release. And it's also, let me go back. There are three different approaches to a release. Okay, service knowledge management system. Purpose of knowledge management, service knowledge management, is to ensure that the right information is delivered to the appropriate place or competent person at the right time to enable informed decisions. The goal of knowledge management is to enable organizations to improve the quality of management decisions by ensuring that reliable and secure information and data is available throughout the service lifecycle. So what's all of that mean? One of the major outputs of service knowledge management is service knowledge management system. Like all of the other systems that we talked about, it's a set of tools and database and sometimes a repository that's used to manage knowledge and information. The service knowledge management system includes the configuration management system as well as other tools and databases such as your AMIS, such as your information and IT security management system. So service knowledge management stores and manages and updates and presents all information that an IT service provider needs to manage the full life cycle of IT services. So if we think about all the repositories that we've talked about, just remember that the service knowledge management system encompasses all of them.
Got it.
Graphical representation of the service knowledge management system. This huge square here is your service knowledge management system. Your CMDB, which is your configuration management database, resides within your configuration management system, which also resides in your service knowledge management system. So sometimes the graphical representations can be a little misleading because some of these systems do not sit in the same environment, right? So your service knowledge management system could be your CMS, which is in one tool, and your availability information could be in another tool, and your capacity information could be in another tool. But the whole point is that all of those databases and repository feeds information into your service knowledge management system. And through that system, the organization is able to make informed decisions. So since we're talking about knowledge management, this is a diagram that you would need to know. It shows the flow from data to wisdom. So if we start here at the lowest level, which is data, make sure. Okay. So it's DIKW. And I probably would go back and forth actually. So if we start here with data, which being the simplest form of information, data is a set of discrete facts about an event. So if we think about an incident ticket, the website was down. Sprintzeal's website was down. So that incident ticket would have discrete facts about the event. Website was down at 11:01 a.m. Tiffany Hunt called. Alex reported, initiated the ticket. User is experienced 404. So discrete facts about the actual event. Information comes from providing context to data or by asking questions on the data. So it could be that my ticket gets routed to a tier 2 technician who then asks me additional questions. Okay, I received your ticket. What operating platform are you on currently? When was the last time you logged into our system? What is your profile name? And from those questions, he's moving from data to information. We move from information to knowledge, which is comprised of concepts, experiences, ideas, insights, and values and judgments of individuals. So knowledge is taking that information and saying, okay, why does this keep happening? Why are users calling? What is it about our platform that's failing? And then we start to do some diagnosis and to analyze the information that we receive. And that leads us to knowledge. Wisdom is the highest level, which gives us the ultimate discernment of the material and guides a person in the application of knowledge has. So wisdom says, well, you know what? This keeps happening, or this is happening. This is due to our lack of upgrading our system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if we go back to the diagram here, the data is the simplest form of the information that, quote unquote, information that we're receiving. Information starts to ask questions about the data that's been received: who, what, when, where. Knowledge asks how. How is this possible? How are we able to move from where we are to where we want to be? And wisdom is the why. Well, why does this keep happening? Why does the service keep failing? Why do people keep leaving the organization? Why do we keep missing this SLA? Why doesn't this customer want to do business with us? And as you move from DIKW, you're increasing your understanding of a particular event. So it's important to understand DIKW and what's involved in each of those facets. Any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay. So last thing we're going to talk about is early life support. We have one diagram on early life support, but I will provide you with additional information. Early life cycle support. So as it relates to service transition, we are concerned with moving from service design to release. And a part of the activity that we perform is, or prepare for, is early life support. So in true ITIL fashion, what we're actually planning for is the event of a failure. So early life support is something that is planned out in service transition in the event that the release does not go well. So we're not going to wait for the release to fail in order to establish early life support. Early life support is planned and it's established and on standby in the event that things don't go as planned for our release. So if we look at the diagram here, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, so we're starting with early life support. The things that we're going to leverage in early life support are incident and problem management, change and configuration management, and service level management. And all of that information we're going to get from our service knowledge management system. So that's another reason why it's important to have all of that data available, so that if things do go awry, we can go back and reach into the repository and understand the why, right? Moving from data to wisdom. Okay. Early life support also is going to report service performance achieved and compare progress against the early life support plan. So once this thing is released, early life support is going to report on service performance. Hey, did we do it? Is everything great? It's going to compare it against the progress in the actual plan. Okay, yes, things went well. Verify service stability. Okay, everything was released. Users are starting to log on. Everything looks great. Typically, there's a threshold. Okay, 90% of the user base was able to log in. They're able to access the information. We're not really getting any problems. And then there's the exit criteria to say, okay, exit criteria met. If it is, we're good to go. We successfully released or deployed this service or this functionality into the environment. And that ends early life support. If not, we identify quick wins, improvements, risk and mitigations, and changes. And then we plan and manage those things to closure, and then that feeds the entire cycle again. So early life support is just on standby to verify that the release was successful. Okay. Any questions?